You need to stop coping. That is the number one thing that I changed. And that is the one thing that I actually stopped doing that allowed me to change not only my trading for the better, but also my life in general. Whenever I used to cope, it was always some sort of workaround. It was some sort of workaround the problem that I was actually facing. I never actually wanted to face my problems head on. And I would cope with the fact that I was blowing eval after eval after eval, so many accounts, a countless number of accounts. And I would always cope with that fact, and I would just say, oh, whenever I pass this eval, if I pass it this time, then I'll start locking in with the XFA. I'll start locking in on the funded stage. And what do you know? That never ends up happening. In fact, I actually have the receipt of my worst day, probably one of the worst days in my trading career. December 5th, 2024. I blew 22 combines in one day. If you can see the number right there, 22 combines with 150K accounts. That is over $3,000, $3,000 plus worth of evals blown in one session. And 15 days later, I got a $20,000 payout in that same month. I'll put it up on the screen somewhere here. Now, that day was very, very crucial to my success because that day was a wake-up call for me. I completely stopped coping after that day. I decided to tackle my problems head on. I decided to get to the root of my problem. It is so easy to get lost in this prop firm game. It is so easy to just buy account after account after account and just tell yourself it's all going to be okay. All you need is one payout to wipe out all of the losses. But when will that one payout finally come? If you keep doing the same things over and over again, if you're not actively making a change and you just keep blowing account after account, if you keep sticking to the same habits, if you can't restrain yourself from pressing a button, how are you going to get to that stage where that one singular payout will wipe out all the losses that you've taken in your trading? And the answer is super, super simple. It is literally facing your problems head on. A lot of you guys have a gambling issue and you don't want to face it. And I'm speaking from experience as well because that was my main issue. As you can see, right, with the little email that I showed you, 22 evals blown in one day. You can't even find 22 setups in one day. I couldn't even find 22 setups in one day. I just couldn't handle a loss. I couldn't handle defeat. And what you have to do is that you have to sit down and actually ask yourself, what do you want from trading? What is your goal with trading? And how bad do you really want it? A lot of people get it confused with trading, especially when you say you want it bad enough, it doesn't mean that you're pushing more volume, more accounts, blowing more accounts, taking more trades. That's not the mindset that you need to have in order to be successful in this field. And that took me a long time to realize it. A lot of people, they say less is more in trading. And I still believe that is true. I stand by that. But even if you take less trades, even if you don't take a lot of trades, even if you don't overtrade, even if you don't revenge trade, if you're still taking less trades and you're still losing, then there is something wrong. And that might not be a gambling issue. That could stem to another issue. For example, it could be the lack of data that you've collected on your model. You don't actually know what you're trading. And again, that's just another way to cope, right? If you don't want to go and you don't want to put in the work, if you don't want to backtest and actually collect real data on your model, that's a way to cope. If you think you're going to figure it out in the live markets, right, you're going to figure it out in the live markets and you don't think back testing is useful, that's a way to cope. So many people have different ways to cope with different things that they're dealing with in their life. And you actively have to make that change, and you actively have to ask yourself, do I want to keep going down this path where I keep pushing all of my mistakes aside and I don't learn from them? And I continue to cope with the fact that, okay, maybe this isn't the problem, but this is, right? And that other problem is completely unrelated to what you're actually struggling with. But when will it ever change? What can you do to make this change? What did I do to make this change? I started to journal. After this day, December 5th, 2024, I took a hard look at myself. I did a deep self-analysis. And then that's when I started to journal. I have all the entries starting from December 6th, and I've kept that same journal since. You have to make that decision yourself. There is no perfect time to make that decision. Hopefully, the reason why I'm making this video is so you don't replicate the same mistakes that I did, right? I don't want you guys to blow 20 evals in a singular day. I don't want you guys to go through some horrible, traumatic experience in your trading to the point where you might quit, right? Or you're seriously thinking about quitting. But for some people, that's what it's going to take, because they can watch all these different videos and they still won't take action. Because I know for myself, I would have loved to watch videos like this, especially when I was blowing 10, 20 evals in a singular day. Now, I want to put this into perspective. This was $3,000 of my own money, yes, but I was getting payouts before, but it wasn't consistent, right? I was either locked in for a couple of weeks and then I wasn't locked in. And then the times that I was not locked in, I would always find a way to cope. Everything in trading, all the issues that you're dealing with, especially when you get deeper and deeper into trading, right? Once you learn a strategy, that's it. After you learn a strategy, everything is just psychology, right? And whatever you do psychologically, right? Whatever you avoid psychologically, that is just your way to cope. And you have to get over that. And if you don't get over it, you're never going to see success in this field. And that is just me being completely blunt with you. So now let's get more into journaling. And how does this help with you dealing with cope, right? You getting over coping. If you journal properly every single day, I'm talking about every single day, even if you miss a trade, even if you gamble, even if you take a loss, a win, whatever it may be. A lot of people have this misconception that if you take a trade and it doesn't fit your model and it's more of a gamble, it's more of a crash out day, you don't need to journal it. That is the stupidest thing I've ever heard. Those are the days that you want to journal. Those are the days that you want to reflect on. Because if you don't, how are you going to fix it? How are you going to put an end to it? You should be ashamed that you're gambling. I know damn well I was ashamed every single time that I would gamble. But the thing is, the problem was I kept repeating that same mistake because I didn't have anything to look back on. So even if I was ashamed, right, when I started journaling, even if I was ashamed that I was gambling, I still had it in my journal. I still made it a habit to journal all those crash out days, all the bullshit that I was doing every single day without fail. And what did that allow me to do? Every time I reflected on my journal at the end of the day, you go through the trading day, you take a trade, you take a screenshot, you put it in your journal, you write comments about it, you ask yourself, was this trade good? Was this trade bad? What could you have done better? Right? All of the basic journaling. And then after that, do whatever you need to do with your day, come back, and then reflect on your journal. Look through your entries. See how many times you've crashed out, right? Because you've noted all of that down, so you're able to look back. And even after that point, if you're not making a change in your trading, you are too far gone. There is absolutely nothing that will help you. If you can get in a habit of journaling your trades every single day, even the missed trades, again, the missed trades, the gamble trades, everything, and actually reflecting on your journal every single day, there is no reason why you will not become profitable. There is no reason. Because I am speaking from experience. Journaling, that is what made me profitable. Being able to collect data is cool, but actually being able to reflect on your entries and regulate your emotions and learn from your mistakes, because you get in a habit of, jotting down everything that you're feeling in the day, and you do that on a daily basis, it becomes a habit. And once it becomes a habit, you never want to do it again, right? You never want to go back to your old ways. And that is exactly what happened to me. And that is the biggest change in my trading. So if you haven't started journaling yet, please let this be a sign to start journaling every single trade. Because I promise you, that will completely change your trading. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you guys enjoyed this lecture. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.